Hi everybody. So there's a toucan on my screen, so that's what I'm gonna draw on and paint. So water, brushes, brush holder, paints, paint palette, and paints. So I already have some paints here already that I've used from before, so we're just gonna get them. They're really dry right now, so I'm gonna get them wet and work with them. But right now I'm just gonna sketch the little toucan that I see on my screen. I think I put the branch in here. His head is here, and his body is here, and his tail is here, right? And his beak is here. All right, so I'm gonna put the heart in. His wings come down here. The tail, the wings come down like that. His feathers is more top heavy, and it has a line here, and he has a big black thing coming here, nice design black here, and it comes here and it goes here. Okay, and his eye is a triangle. It's like a triangle, and from the beak his eye is here. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the background in first, and so I've blocked out the area for the bird. I'm gonna put the background in first. Now this background has some things in the foreground. So what's in the foreground is this branch he's sitting on, and we also have some leaves in the foreground. So kind of a leaf here, a leaf here, a leaf here, a leaf here. There's no leaves in the foreground here. There is a twig here with some leaves coming off of it. Another leaf here. Okay, even though I promised myself I wouldn't spend so much time on the sketch, I spent a whole 5 minutes just noodling, technical term, just adjusting and readjusting these leaves. So I'm going to save you the 5 minutes and cut it down to 1 minute and just talk to you about my art supplies for a bit. The paints I'm using are Mungo, M-U-N-G-O. I think I spelled that right, not sure. Got them from Above Ground Art Store nearby my work. And the paper I'm using is Arches cold press 100% cotton. I'm not using paper today just because these paintings I want to put them up on Etsy, so I want them to be good paintings, and I want to be able to rework. So the paper is cotton, and I think cotton will be able to, I'll be able to rework it and make it look really nice at the end. So alright, I think that's it for me and leaves. So I'm going to paint in the blue background just so that I have, sorry, not blue, green. So we're gonna start, I'm going to start really light, and this is how I build up my paintings really gradually. And so I'm just gonna put some green in here. This is an empty spot. I know I have green over here, but I need a spot to just, I'm going to move this out of the way because I really don't want the water splotches on. Alright, so I'm going to start just with, this is good enough, a light green. I like this green. So I'm going to be careful of the areas where I have pencil. So I'm just going to, I can hardly even see it. Okay, there it goes. Well, yours is just coming out as water. But this is just me blocking in the color so that I know what all the colors are. So that's going to be green. I'm just blocking them in. Alright, so yeah, so I'm just blocking it in so I know what all the colors are and where all the colors are gonna be. I'm going around the leaves so that maybe I can erase. Gonna do a little better job at erasing these leaves. Or you know what? Maybe I won't. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll do something with it. We'll see. Maybe we'll just keep it in there. So, I'm using cotton. Instead of paper. Oh, I made a mistake. Whoops. That's a branch. I just colored in my branch. But it's going to be brown anyway, so it should be okay. Cotton, paper, so that I can come back to it many times and work it. Paper. I'm using Arches 100% cotton because after I finish these paintings, I'm going to put them up for sale on Etsy. So that's the goal for me. I'm going to sign them and put them up for sale. So I'm going to try and use the best materials that I have. Alright, so I am going to let this dry. So this is my start. I'm going to make this dry. Okay, I'm back. It's dry. I know you can't really see that, but it's not shiny anymore. Just, I'm going to move this away while I do that. So I'm going to take this orange and I'm going to try and turn it a little bit brown, but a very light brown. What is this right here? Let's see. This looks like a... So I'm just going to swatch it here to see what it is. It's black. Okay. Not quite. I'm going to put it here. Okay, so I'm going to take this, put this here. So that was just a little bit of black. Okay, so now I have this kind of it kind of looks brown. I'm going to add a little blue to it. Gonna add a little bit of this blue to it. This is actually a little greenish blue. Oops. Alright, so now we have green. gonna put a little bit more of that yellow in. Yeah, we just made green. Hold on. I'm gonna put that over here. Go back and pick up some more yellow. Push that more to yellow. Pick up some of that black. Darken that a little bit. It's not really black, it's like a mixture of all the colors. Let's put some purple in there. Okay, that's working. Put a little bit more purple in there. Okay. Alright, so that's coming out real cool. I'm gonna put a little bit of red. This isn't really red, this is like a red orange. Perfect. Oops. Whoops, I'm going to take that out. But you know what? I'm gonna leave it because we said we want it light brown. So there we have it. So just to swatch this, still looks a little bit yellow, but that's okay. I'm gonna use it to block in our branch. So our branch here, right? And there's a leaf there. Okay. And there's I'm going to try and erase this as much as possible. Try and get my pencil marks out of there. Alright, and just blot this in. Just really lightly block that in. And it comes across here as well. So that's our brown. Really bright yellow orange line right here. So nice. Alright, so then the rest of this is like yellow. And I have a yellow here from before. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to reactivate this just by adding a little bit of water. And I'm going to just touch him here. I'm okay with it blending the yellow and the orange. I'm gonna touch there, blend some of that in with the yellow that's on my brush. Perfect. Okay, and then I'm going to mix it's a toss-up because it's not as bright as this, but it's still really bright. So I'm gonna put some over here because it's not as bright, and I'm gonna kill it with some of this yellow. In fact, let's put some of this over here. Let's just mix that there. Let me grab that and put that here. No, he has a white highlight there and another white highlight like right here, which I'm just gonna try and maintain. Nice. All right, now it goes into that tip right there. All right, and kind of work his eye a little bit, like right here. And when that dries, I have to go in with some orange. So I'll let that dry in. In fact, I'm gonna take it all the way out here. I should have erased that line. Can't do it anymore. Alright, yeah, well, alright, let me just take this all the way out here, and then I'll have to darken him up. This green, I'm gonna take a swatch of it. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more brightness on it. Just take a swatch of that. Better, but darken it up a little bit more. Okay, that I was noodling now. I'm going to put the color in here. So I spent a long time just taking my time filling in these leaves, longer than I should. Sometimes I get in the zone and I don't realize how much time passes. But I want to just share with you something. Oh, it's very hard to erase your lines once you've put paint over them. Oh my gosh, is it hard to erase your lines. So plan better than me and just lighten up those lines up front before you even start to put paint on. So now, the really cool thing about this toucan is his eye is a blue color. So I'm gonna use this color right here for my blue. So that's his eye. Uh-oh, paint's really wet. Should have let it dry. That's my fault. Let me try and take some of the color out. There we go. Just with that, I dried my brush off in my fingers, and I'm just trying to take the color out, like sponge the color out with my brush there. Okay, and I think this is blue violet. So, and all of these colors were mixed from my yellow blues and reds. I don't remember know which ones I mixed, but I'm gonna stay away from that line for now. This is just blocking the color in. All right. Gonna just take away that color there, dry it off. Oops, I have yellow on my hands, that's dangerous. Alright, so blocking in him, body of the bird. There's a white part like right here, so I'm going to leave that white. Alright, and that is our color. These are the colors that we're going to be working with. And then we're going to push them darker as we go. So this is the lightest lights. Oh, I almost forgot his beak. This part here is black. Gonna need a little bit more of that color. Gonna try and not get the edges so that it doesn't mix the colors. So that's dark. Okay, and then that's right, here as well. This is very dark for this part of his beak right here. And I messed up here, so I'm just gonna make it this dark. It's okay. I don't know how he's gonna look, but it's supposed to be a shorter area. Alright, so that's him for now. And we'll let that dry and we'll work on it some more. Into this blue. And I'm just going to put in that color that I wanted for the eye. And then I'm going to leave this section alone because it bled in a little bit. So that's not my black, this is it over here. So let me adjust. There. Alright. So I'm going to be a little bit more intentional with this beak. Okay. I'm gonna try and maintain my highlights that I had put in from before right there. Alright, now this is what I was talking about. So right here on the beak, it's not, this part here, it's not very thick. But when it comes to this part is nice and curvy and thick. So I just wanted to make that adjustment. And the line kind of curves in like this and then curves like this. It's kind of cool. So that's kind of the adjustment that I wanted to make. And I'm noticing where I have diligently erased his face, I have this tearing of, not tearing, but disruption of the paper here and here. Alright, so what have we learned? Don't erase. Don't erase too much. Alright, let me see how that looks. Let me make a swatch of this. Nice and thin, that's good. Alright, so gonna use this area here, and then I'm just gonna go over the background a little bit, leaving some areas a little bit light. The negative space here. Gonna leave a little bit of a halo for his outline. As I darken up the background a bit. Gonna go right to just going to put a halo all around him. Darkening this part here. Alright, neat. Back underneath here. Leave some of this light. Put this in dark shadow. Put this in a little bit of a darker area. And by the time I'm finished working on this background, I should be able to touch there. But to be on the safe side, I'm just going to gonna leave it and wait. Alright, so now I have some darker areas and some lighter areas. And I'm gonna soften the edges now. So I'm just going to wash my brush out for any color. Then I'm just gonna go around these edges just to soften it. This one too. This one as well. Sort of color is kind of a brownish color. So I'm gonna try and mix that actually. Take my brown from before and put it in here. Just take a swatch of that and see how that looks. Yeah, like that. It's weird. So his headpiece, and I'm gonna go right into it right here. It's like a brownish, very brownish type color. And it goes all the way down to here. And then it blends into a blue. So I'm just going to go right up against it so it can blend in. And then I'm going to also try and indicate some feathery type things going on. So I have some feathers like this going here. I'm just drawing it in. I have some feathers like this going on here. I have just this going on here, right? I have something like this going on here. I have some lines. I drew some lines before, so I'm just going to draw them back in like there, and here again with the feathers like that, and then some more lines coming in like that, and then these, I drew them before, but here they are again. I want to put some yellow here, so I'm just gonna do that. Without touching. Okay. So it's relatively dry now, and so just to finish up tonight, I'm going to glaze over this section that I did. And what I mean by that is it's going to be a very light, so I'm going to dilute this dark with a lot of water. So I'm just dripping a lot of water into it. Got some on my paper there. Okay, that's why I like to move the bird away. And then, so with this very diluted dark, I'm going to just go over all these lines with it, and they won't disappear because they're dry now, so, or blend, or that's the theory anyway. So yeah, it's working. All right, and I'm going to be careful just to leave this area out of it. I'm going to try and blend this section here. Go right up against here, darken it a little bit. Okay, so it's working. It's keeping that area. I'm gonna go in and try to unify this area here. I'm gonna just go over it with that. Good. So the lines are maintained now, so they're gonna stay there forever. Yay! Which is what I hoped it would have done. And then I'm just going to go over this area here as well, make it darker. Alright, and I'm gonna stop here tonight. I'm actually gonna make him dry up really nicely. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put a bright green glaze, I feel like, over the whole thing. Let me just swatch this green here. This is a very bright green, but it's very, very light, so this has a whole lot of water in it. I'm just going to go over the whole thing with this green to brighten it up a little bit. Same concept, just going to glaze it right over, even in the highlights. Just glaze over the whole thing. With this bright green. Maybe I only have enough for one side. But why I wanted to do that is because the green was looking a bit drab, a bit too dark, and I wanted this painting to be bright like the toucan. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to try and take out some of those highlights. So just with water, and I'm wiping my brush with my hand like this to get the water out of it. So still maintain. So I took some of the paint out just to maintain some of that highlighted area. And with the rest of this, I'm going to go over this area here, same thing, as much as I can, even going over the leaves. I don't have much left, but that brightened it up a little bit, made it look a little less drab. Alright, so the toucan's looking good. I'm going to end it here for today. Hey guys, sorry I've been having technical difficulties today. I thought I was recording, but I was not. I did a lot of work on the board, so let me just review what I did. So I guess the first thing I did was I wanted to work on that eye. So I put, this is a dark color here. I mixed up black sort of color, and so here it is right here, just by mixing all the colors together. And I was working on the eye, so I just darkened up this eye right here, just like that. Okay, so darkened up the eye. Then I proceeded, then I realized that the zoom on the camera isn't working, so I cannot zoom in and out from the software, so that's not working, and I can't get a crisp focus on the figure either, which is kind of bad. So the technology is fighting me a little bit, but in any case, I went in here again and I darkened the beak, so I can just demonstrate that. So just to darken up the beak a little bit. Alright, and then one of my screens just went dead. I swear I don't know what's going on today. I restarted my computer a whole lot of times, so I don't know what's happening right now. Anyway, so after I darkened up that area, darkened up the eye, I proceeded to darken up the body. So this brown here, I'm going to just put in some more. So it goes from dark to light. So I darkened up this area here with some brown, and then with I washed out my brush, and then I just feathered it back here. Then I did the same sort of thing with the body. As you can see, my lines are now hardly noticeable because I wanted to darken up the bird. So with this dark wash here, I put this in its own thing, and then I lightened it up with some water. So I just dripped some water in there, and then I can demonstrate too. I went over the whole thing again. That's still very brownish, but this is blue. This is a bluish dark color instead of a brownish dark color. I went over the whole bird with this darker color because he's really dark, and I kind of blended up here as well to get that in as well. And then I also went over the feathers here. I darkened this area first, let it dry, and then went over it again. So this is a feather in the foreground, and then this is the feathers at the back, which you can hardly see. So that's there, and go over this side as well, don't neglect here. Alright, so I did that, and then I focused in on the beak, which is now I took the bright yellow and I think it's here, this one here, very bright yellow, and I went over this section here with it, just to brighten up this yellow here. Okay. I'm going to try not to touch the bead that I just did. Right, and I let that sit. And then after I brightened everything with yellow, brightened over here as well, I went in with the orange, the red orange, this red orange here, and I touched up the bottom here. So I activated this just a little bit, and I feathered in here, and then to just put, because there's like a darker orange to this part of the beak, so I'll put that there. And then with the little faded orange, I don't think you remember this one, the little faded orange, I brightened up this area here. Alright, then with the yellow sitting there, let it dry for a little bit. So I worked on the body and let this dry a little bit, and then I went around with the dark red orange, and I went around here with it just to brighten up that eye. I went around here with it to brighten up this area here. Washed out the brush, dried it a little, and then faded it up top here. And then went around here, brighten up this area here, right? And then just, I needed an edge here, just to brighten up here. There's a little bit of scarring here on my paper. I guess that came from erasing, so I'm going to try my best with it. It doesn't want to put the color there, so I'm just going to work on it a bit. I'm blurring this, trying to take some of the color out, because I want here to be yellow. So I'm going to work that a little bit, and then I'll let that dry. I'm going to work this again, so I'm going to go back in my dark color here and brighten this a bit. So that's kind of just what I've just been working on his beak and his body. And so my toucan is looking good. See if it will zoom in for me. Doesn't want to. Yeah, so the technology been fighting me. So even though the technology is fighting me, I wanted to get something done. Let me finish off with a little bit of green here for the leaves. I'm gonna darken these leaves up a little bit. Let me swatch this. That's great. I'm just gonna go over the leaves real quick to brighten these guys up. All right. Just a little bit more. Put a little bit more green in there to the rest of them. That's a powerful. I like this green, so I'm gonna go over this one with this green. This green has a little bit more blue in there, so maybe at some point I put some blue in it. Or I got some blue in there. All right. Hit this. So even though I didn't, you know, I had some hiccups in the first part with the technology, I think this turned out really well. And then I'm going to let this dry really well, and then let me feather out this section here. And I'm getting a chance to see how well this cotton is holding up. So that's my fault because of the erasing. I did some bad things to it. But it is a textured, it is textured cold pressed. So there are going to be some bumps and bruises in there naturally. So that's okay. So I noticed this edge is a little bit jagged. Maybe that's what I'm talking about with the bumps and bruises. So I'm going to try and soften it a little bit. The edges, control my edges. They're a little bit jagged. And smoothen them out a little bit. Yeah. The rest of them look good. It was just this one that was giving me a problem. So with that, I think I'm going to add some darker colors in here. So hold on a sec. I'm going to add some blue to this. Swatch that. That's a nice color. I'm just gonna go in here and put some dark spots in here. Just kind of like that, maybe where darker areas, just random. This is random background stuff, just to give the background a little bit of interest, so it's just not all the same color. I'm gonna go in here with some of that green. Just kind of randomly. That's it for now. And then I'm just gonna feather it in just to blend it in and see how that works out. Alright, that's hella more interesting. I'm going to remove some of this paint here. Remove some of this paint here. I think that's good. Alright, so that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back to it a little later and see how it settles down. Okay, so let me see if I can get this sharper. I've been having problems with my camera lately. Focus, focus, focus. Starting over. Okay guys, so here's a finished bird. Trying to get my camera to focus. There we go. Here's a finished bird. I noodled it a lot off camera, just because, you know, it's sitting on my desk, and when I come back to my desk, I'll touch up the colors. I added these. I drew in these little teeth here on the beak. They're not really teeth. They're just how his beak is designed. And I enhanced all the colors, so I darkened him up, his feathers and stuff, and I darkened up the branches, and I darkened up the leaves, and I put a nice green glaze over the whole thing, so it's pretty much green, but then the highlights are still in there. So true to form, he's up on Etsy, so I can go ahead in my Rags to Riches Sims 4 playthrough. You can check that out in the video in the description. I can actually have her sell the painting that she did now, so she can get a little extra cash. My little sim. So yeah, we're done. I'm going to have it on Instagram, It's here on YouTube. It's on Etsy. So you'll see it in a bunch of places. Alright, thanks for checking that out. Bye bye.